Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. I have some more cancer data, very important cancer data to share with you. Just a couple of announcements first. Our conference this year is November 3rd through 5th. We just added another speaker, Dr. Steve Keeby, a local pediatrician who many of you know and have heard speak before at our local meetings and at last year's conference, is going to make a return appearance. And not only, by the way, is he a marvelous doctor who is research-oriented and has the right ideas about children and health. He's also a phenomenal musician, and we are going to talk him into another concert this year. So you not only learn a whole bunch of great stuff, but you have a great time at our conferences. And remember, we're doing this in our own conference center, which means we can only seat 85 people in person. We sell those tickets out pretty quickly. So if you think you might like to join us, this would be a good time to buy a ticket. Also, I have, by popular demand, actually a lot of people asked me about it, scheduled another free healthcare workshop for March 20th at 9 p.m. Lots of questions coming in about these PMAs and how to set things up, and all kinds of questions related to independent practice. And so I just can't deal with these one-on-one. I'm going to deal with it in groups. So it's free. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you want to join this workshop, just send me an email at pampopper@msn.com. Don't forget my new healthcare letter, newsletter, which goes out twice a month. If you want to be added to that, let me know. And I also continue to do one-on-one presentations, or not presentations, conversations with healthcare professionals who are trying to figure out, what am I going to do with myself? I'm not ready to retire. I want, I really want to make a difference and all that sort of thing. So again, email pampopper@msn.com. And don't forget our marvelous food. And if you live locally, by the way, around Central Ohio, we have fresh prepared meals in our deli case. So if you're thinking, I'd love to eat this way, but I don't want to cook, well, we do the cooking for you. And you're hearing Mr. Winston here is playing with the noisiest toys he can find, because I'm making a video, and that's what you do during video as far as Winston is concerned. So he may make an appearance here. So just to let you know. All right, so let's talk about the subject du jour. During the last few months, I've made several videos concerning risk factors for cancer and the efficacy or lack thereof for screening programs to reduce the risk of dying from cancer. The purpose of these videos is, of course, to provide accurate data about these topics, but also I want to motivate people to take better care of themselves. I mean, the risk factors for cancer are pretty well known. And other than Pap tests for cervical cancer, screening programs are largely ineffective. So it makes investing and improving your health the best option for avoiding cancer or death from cancer. Now, today I'm going to give you some more motivation, sobering data on the efficacy of treatment, which may motivate you even more. So first, I'll share the results of a research project which was published in 2004. The article was sent to me recently by an old friend who served on the board of a nonprofit with me many years ago. His wife died of cancer many years ago, which is why he has had an interest in cancer treatments for many, many years. So to talk about this project first, researchers conducted a literature search for randomized clinical trials reporting 5-year survival attributable to chemotherapy in adult malignancies. The total number of newly diagnosed cancer patients for 22 major adult malignancies was determined from cancer registry data in Australia and from the SEER data in the United States for the year 1998. The results, the overall contribution of curative and adjuvant chemotherapy to 5-year survival in adults was estimated to be about 2.3% in Australia and 2.1% in the United States. Well, this is 2004, and you might be thinking, well, cancer treatment's improved since then, hasn't it? It must be more effective. I mean, not just chemotherapy, but you have all these new targeted drugs and immunotherapies and so on. Well, it just so happens that this Saturday I'm presenting 2 lectures based on this book, Cancer Incorporated, by Ralph Moss. It's for the professional members of Wellness Forum and above, get to participate in these book study classes every month. Ralph Moss has been researching cancer treatments for decades. He's written over a dozen books on the topic. He's published articles on cancer treatment in medical journals, definitely an expert on the topic. And we've ordered Moss reports for years to help people make good decisions about cancer. So the book is really fascinating and terrifying at the same time. So I'll share just a few of the statistics that I think are a bit sobering. The death rate from cancer fell 5% between 1950 and 2013. Most of that drop was attributed to less smoking, not better drugs. The immune checkpoint inhibitor, Yervoy, and he has a lot of information in this book about immune checkpoint inhibitors. They were supposed to be the miracle cures. In the first randomized trial, more patients died than had complete responses from the drug. Now, as you probably know by now, that doesn't mean the FDA doesn't approve these drugs, but this is what the real data are. Only 11.8% of cancer drugs are ultimately approved, and the failure rate for targeted therapies is 97%. Most of the approvals that you do see for cancer drugs are based on improvements in surrogate markers, for example, shrinking a tumor, not efficacy for extending life, because shrinking a tumor does not always equate to extending life. Lots of discussion about this in the book. Average life extension is only a few months, even for some of the most expensive drugs. A meta-analysis of 570 phase 2 single-agent studies with 30,000 patients, the median response rate or tumor shrinkage was 27 months. Median progression-free survival time, this is another surrogate, how long does it take for the cancer to start progressing again, 2.7 months, and overall survival, 8.9 months. There's more, lots more, dismal, okay? The bottom line, the book is filled with truth about cancer treatments, alternatives that cancer patients might want to explore, and which have higher efficacy rates and would be more motivated to explore if they actually understood what the data shows for the treatment that's being proposed to them. Cancer treatments really today are not a whole lot better than they were decades ago. The outcomes are pretty dismal. So the best bet, we're back to this, is to address your health issues now. If you're overweight, do something about it. If you're sedentary, get moving. If you're not eating well, let's fix it. And I think it's really important to define eating well. For those of you who think an animal foods diet or keto diet is best, here's a sobering and inconvenient fact. Cancer cells require a lot of glucose to survive and grow, which has caused some very short-sighted doctors who really don't know how to read the medical literature in terms of looking for long-term outcomes to recommend animal foods-based diets, fat and protein instead of carbs. Here's the problem. Early-stage cancers haven't yet built the vasculature to provide the increased glucose needs of the cancer cells, so they use an alternative fuel, plasma cholesterol. Where does this cholesterol come from? Diets based on animal foods and fat. Lots of articles, by the way, in our Health Briefs library, which is a member benefit. So the workshops I'm talking about, member benefit. The articles that back up all this stuff I'm telling you, member benefit. So the best tool for avoiding death from cancer is to improve your health status the right way, with a diet consumed by the longest lived people in the world. And it's not a keto diet, and it's not a carnivore diet, and it's not a paleo diet. So just one last thing I'll mention. Decisions that cancer patients make are really important. I mean, you could be a type 2 diabetic. You can postpone doing something about your health and a year later say, well, maybe I should have paid more attention to my health and changing my diet and losing weight and that sort of thing than paying attention to which drugs I'm going to take for diabetes. That you're probably going to end up okay anyway, most likely. When cancer patients make the wrong decisions, the consequences are catastrophic. Often you find out that not looking into this before you start treatment, by the time you get curious about it, time to be curious is in the beginning, disastrous things have happened. The cancer's progressed, the tumor is treatment resistant, and et cetera. So we have created these huge libraries. Cancer 101 is a series of 12 lectures that are all about cancer, causation, that sort of thing. Cancer 201 is, I think there's like 40 lectures posted there on alternative treatments ranging from hyperbaric oxygen to Hoxy. And then we have a cancer concierge membership that allows for discussions with our staff about how to interpret all this information for your situation. So anyway, we have lots of resources for everybody who's interested in health, but cancer patients are a special category because the decisions they make have far worse immediate consequences than if you're just postponing losing weight or postponing doing something about your diabetic condition. So with that, that's it for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it, and I'll be back to you tomorrow with more news.